Today we will see about the thyroid hormones. pH 1.36. This is the anatomical location of the thyroid gland. This slide shows the structure of the thyroid hormones. So there are two thyroid hormones. One is thyroxine, that is T4, and another is T3, that is triiodothyronine. There are two biologically active thyroid hormones. One is tetraiodothyronine, that is T4, also known as thyroxine, and another is triiodothyronine, that is T3. Both are derived from tyrosine. Now this slide shows the thyroid gland. Thyroid gland contains the follicular cells, follicles. Follicles are lined by the follicular cell, that is known as the thyrocytes, and inside the follicles there is a lumen containing the colloid. And there are two types of thyroid hormones. One is the T3, that is triiodothyronine, and the second, that is T4. Both are derived from the amino acid tyrosine. This slide shows the thyroid gland and the hormone secreted from the thyroid gland. Also the hypothalamus is shown. Hypothalamus secretes the thyrotropin releasing hormone, TRH. TRH is released from the hypothalamus, which acts on the pituitary gland, that is anterior pituitary, to release the TSH. TSH acts on the thyroid gland to release the T3 and T4. When the T3 and T4 level are increased in the blood, it sends negative feedback inhibition to the hypothalamus, and there is decrease in the TRH release, which in turn decreases. Also it sends negative feedback inhibition to anterior pituitary and decreases TSH release, and so there is a less production of the thyroid hormones. So in this slide the regulation of thyroid hormone secretion is shown. TRH, which is secreted from the hypothalamus, augments the secretion of thyroid hormone by stimulating the TSH from the pituitary. TSH is thyroid stimulating hormone, which is released from the anterior pituitary. TSH, which is secreted from the anterior pituitary, stimulates the secretion of hormones from the thyroid gland. Negative feedback inhibition is exerted by the circulating T3 and T4 hormones. This negative feedback inhibition is exerted upon the hypothalamus as well as the anterior pituitary. Hypothalamus, which secretes TRH, and anterior pituitary, which secretes the TSH. So the level of both the hormones are reduced when T3 and T4 is increased due to the negative feedback inhibition. In this slide it is shown that the pituitary gland secretes a lot of hormones. TSH is one of them. TSH acts on the thyroid gland and produces T3 and T4, which circulate in the body. When the level of the thyroid hormone, that is T3 and T4, is low, pituitary gland releases TSH. TSH signals the thyroid gland to make more hormones. If thyroid hormone levels are high, pituitary gland decreases TSH production, and that will decrease the thyroid hormone production. In this slide the hypothalamic pituitary thyroid axis is shown. There is a feedback loop that regulates the secretion. Thyrotropin releasing hormone, that is TRH, which is produced by the hypothalamus, stimulates the anterior pituitary to secrete TSH. TSH causes thyroid gland to release T3 and T4. These then suppress the production of the TRH and TSH via negative feedback loop, which is shown in red color. If T3 and T4 level fall, it will stimulate the hypothalamus and anterior pituitary to secrete TRH and TSH, which is shown in the green color. and that will increase the further synthesis of the hormone and release of the hormones from the thyroid gland. This slide shows the regulation of the thyroid function. Hypothalamic pituitary thyroid axis is shown. Hypothalamus releases TRH, that is thyrotropin releasing hormone, which acts on the anterior pituitary to release the TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. TSH acts on the thyroid gland to release T3 and T4, which acts on the target organs. T3 and T4 sends negative feedback inhibition to the hypothalamus and pituitary, and that will reduce the secretion of the TRH and TSH respectively, which will further decrease the hormone production. In this slide also the hypothalamus, anterior pituitary and thyroid gland are shown and the respective hormones are shown. Hypothalamus secretes TRH, stimulates the anterior pituitary to secrete TSH. TSH acts on thyroid gland to release T3 and T4. Here also hypothalamus secretes the TRH, which acts on the anterior pituitary to release the TSH. TSH acts on thyroid gland to release T3 and T4. Free T4 and T3, they send negative feedback signal to the hypothalamus and anterior pituitary and decreases TRH and TSH respectively, which will decrease the further production of the thyroid hormones. Now in this slide it is shown that when the homeostasis is disturbed, that means when there is a decrease in the T3 and T4 concentration in the blood, there is a signal sent to the hypothalamus to release the TRH. TRH will act on the anterior pituitary and it will release the TSH. TSH acts on the thyroid gland to stimulate the synthesis of T3 and T4. Homeostasis gets restored. When the T3 and T4 level are increased, it will send negative feedback inhibition to the hypothalamus and the anterior pituitary to decrease the synthesis of the respective hormones, and that will decrease the production, and in this way the homeostasis comes to normal. So in this slide also it is shown that thyroid releasing hormone or thyrotropin releasing hormone TRH is released from the neurons within the hypothalamus into the blood. It passes through the hypothalamo-hypophyseal portal system to the anterior pituitary. TRH causes cells of the anterior pituitary to secrete TSH, that is thyroid stimulating hormone. TSH passes through the general circulation to the thyroid gland, where it causes increased synthesis of the secretion of the T3 and T4. T3 and T4 have inhibitory effect on the secretion of the TRH from the hypothalamus and TSH from the anterior pituitary. So T3 and T4 have inhibitory effect on the secretion of TRH from the hypothalamus and TSH from the anterior pituitary. This is nothing but the negative feedback inhibition, which is shown in the red color, and when the levels fall, there is stimulation of the hypothalamus and anterior pituitary to secrete more TRH and TSH, so that there will be increased production of the thyroid hormones. So here also it is in this slide it is shown that the major regulatory steps. Hypothalamus releases TRH. TRH acts on the anterior pituitary to secrete TSH. TSH acts on the thyroid gland to release T4 and T3. T4 and T3, they act on the target tissues. T4 and T3 have negative feedback control on the secretion of the TSH. So here also it is shown that when the levels are decrease. T3 and T4 levels are low in the blood. Hypothalamus is stimulated to release the TRH. Then pituitary gland, it sends signal to the pituitary gland to release TSH. Pituitary gland, TSH acts on the thyroid hormones to release the T3 and T4. T3 and T4 levels get restored, come back to normal. So in this way, when the levels are decreased, the levels are brought down to normal. Now this slide shows the synthesis of the thyroid hormones. Now there are various steps in the synthesis of the thyroid hormones. So you can see in this slide that in the first step thyroglobulin is synthesized. Now this slide shows the follicular cell and the lumen. Pink portion is the cell, follicular cell, and the yellow portion is the lumen containing colloid. Thyroglobulin is synthesized in the cell and it is discharged into the follicular lumen. This is the first step. In your book it is not mentioned. Second step is the trapping of the iodide. So iodide trapping takes place, which is the active transport process, active transport of the iodide. Again the concentration gradient and with the synthesis of the ATP, with the use of the ATP. So ATP is required, energy is required for this active transport, and it is again the concentration gradient. It takes place by the symporter, sodium iodide symporter, which is located on the basement membrane of the follicular cell. So this sodium iodide symporter causes trapping of the iodide ion, which is the active transport process. It is under the influence of the enzyme peroxidase. Then third step is the oxidation of the iodide. Iodide is oxidized to iodine by the enzyme peroxidase, catalyzed by the enzyme peroxidase. Then this active form of the iodine, that is the iodine, it gets transported into the lumen, that is in the colloid. Then in the lumen, you can see that is in the colloid, iodine enters the follicular lumen and it is attached to the tyrosine in the colloid. That means there is a iodination of the tyrosine residues of the thyroglobulin molecule to form MIT and DIT. So this step is also iodination or organification of the tyrosine residues. This is also catalyzed by the peroxidase enzyme. Then after oxidation and iodination, final step is the coupling of the MIT and DIT. So iodinated tyrosine residues, that is MIT, monoiodotyrosine and diiodotyrosine, they are coupled to form the T3 and T4. Two molecules of DIT coupled to form T4 and one molecule of DIT and one molecule of MIT coupled to form the T3. So they are all coupled together and they are formed and they are bound they remain in the bound form in the colloid of the thyroid follicle, linked with the thyroglobulin molecule. Now this thyroglobulin colloid, the next step is the fifth step is the endocytosis. Thyroglobulin colloid is endocytosed in the cell, in the follicular cell. So endocytosis of the thyroglobulin colloid take place. After endocytosis, next step is the combination of this endocytosed colloid with the lysosome, and then proteolysis of the or cleavage of the bonds of the T4 and T3. So the lysosomal enzymes in the lysosome, they cause proteolysis of the T4 and T3 from the thyroglobulin colloid, and the hormone is set free inside the follicular cell, inside the cytoplasm of the follicular cell. So T3 and T4 are released from the bound thyroglobulin colloid by the lysosomal enzymes. They cause cleavage and proteolysis. T3 and T4 are set free into the cytoplasm. So this endocytosis and proteolysis is regulated by the under the influence of the TSH hormone, that is thyroid stimulating hormone. Once the T3 and T4 are released into the cell, they are free and they are highly lipophilic. So they immediately diffuse into the circulation. So they get diffused into the circulation and they enter the blood and they are transported to the organs. Now in the blood, the T4 gets converted to the T3 by the enzyme deiodinase. So deiodinase enzyme, it will convert T4 to the T3. So peripheral conversion of T4 to the T3 by the deiodinase enzyme take place in the liver and in the kidney, and T3 is the active form of the hormone, T4 is the prohormone, while the T3 is the active form of the hormone which acts on the various target tissues. Also the mono MIT and DIT are also released into the blood circulation. These are also getting deiodinated and the iodide and the tyrosine are set free, and iodide is reutilized for the further formation and further synthesis of the hormone. Both the iodide and the tyrosine are utilized for the synthesis of the hormones. So in this way recycling of the iodide take place and the tyrosine. In this slide also you can see that the iodide is taken up via the sodium iodide symporter, which is located in the basement membrane of the follicular cell, and it transports the iodide and 2 sodium ions. Second step is the iodide is secreted via pendrin channel. Third step is that iodide is converted to iodine via the oxidation under the influence of the peroxidase enzyme. After oxidation, there is iodination of the tyrosine residues. There is iodination of the tyrosine residues of the thyroglobulin molecule. So this iodination takes place to form MIT and DIT. After iodination and organification, there is coupling. Fifth step, coupling of the MIT and DIT to form the T3 and T4. So the hormones are synthesized and they remain in the colloid, in the bound form in the colloid of the thyroglobulin of the follicular cell. That is in the thyroglobulin molecule of the colloid of the follicular cells. So here thyroglobulin in the second step you can see that it is secreted and synthesized and secreted via exocytosis into the colloid. So all these steps takes place in the colloid of the follicular lumen. This thyroglobulin colloid, now once the hormones are formed, they are the colloid is endocytosed into the cell. Colloid gets endocytosed into the cell, and this colloid contains the bound hormones. Then these colloid vesicles, they fuse with the lysosomes, where the proteolytic enzyme they cleave the T3 and T4. They release the bound hormone and the T3 and T4 are released into the cytoplasm, enter the cytosol of the follicular cell. Next step, that is 8th step, you can see that the free T3 and T4 secreted into the blood. So in this way the hormones are secreted into the blood. Now all these steps, that is from the 6th step, 6th, 7th and 8th step are under the influence of TSH, and previous steps are under catalyzed by the hormone thyroid peroxidase. So in this way the hormones are synthesized and secreted into the blood. So here also it is shown that iodide is actively transported into the thyroid follicular cell. Thyroglobulin is synthesized in the thyroid follicle cells. It is it exocytosed into the lumen of the follicle. Tyrosine amino acids of the thyroglobulin are iodinated. 2 iodinated tyrosine residues, they form coupled to form iodination means formation of MIT and DIT. They couple to form T3 and T4. Then after formation of T3 and T4, there is endocytosis of the colloid into the follicular cell. Endocytosed vesicles, they fuse with the lysosomes, and then thyroglobulin in the lysosomes is broken down by the lysosomal enzyme, that is proteolysis takes place, and the T3 and T4 are released into the cytosol, and then they diffuse into the blood from the cytosol. The free hormones, they diffuse into the blood. So in this way the hormones are synthesized and secreted. Endocytosis and proteolysis and release is under the influence of TSH, while the previous steps are catalyzed by the hormone by the enzyme thyroid peroxidase. So in this slide also it is shown the synthesis of the thyroid hormone, that is thyroid iodide uptake, then oxidation of the iodide to iodine, iodination is shown to form mono and diiodotyrosine, and coupling is shown. Now in this slide also it is shown, all the steps are shown. We will just recall the events. Synthesis of the thyroglobulin. First is the iodide trapping. First step is the thyroglobulin synthesis. Second step is the iodide trapping via the sodium iodide symporter which is located at the basement membrane of the follicular cell. So iodide is trapped, which is active transport. Third step is the oxidation of the iodide to the iodine catalyzed by the enzyme peroxidase. So iodine enters the follicular lumen in the colloid, and it causes organification or iodination of the tyrosine residues to form MIT and DIT. Once there is formation of MIT and DIT, next step, fifth step is the coupling. Coupling to form T3 and T4 catalyzed by the enzyme peroxidase. So the oxidation, iodination and coupling are catalyzed by the peroxidase enzyme. Then endocytosis takes place. And then there is a proteolysis or hydrolysis takes place in the lysosomes to release T3 and T4 into the cytosol, and then they are released into the circulation. Along with the T3 and T4, MIT and DIT are also released into the circulation, and they get deiodinated, and the iodide is released and tyrosine is released, and that is recycled again by the enzyme deiodinase. T4 is converted to T3 in the periphery by the enzyme deiodinase present in the liver and in the kidney. So all these reactions take place, the sites are shown. Sodium iodide symporter is located in the basal membrane of the follicular cells, while the oxidation, iodination and coupling, endocytosis, they take place in the apical membrane of the follicular cell. So here also, in this slide also, the sodium, first step is the sodium iodide co-transport against the chemical and electrical gradient. So iodide trapping is shown via the sodium iodide co-transporter or symporter located in the basal membrane of the follicular cell, which is active transport. Thyroglobulin is synthesized and transferred to the lumen. Then iodide is oxidized to iodine via the enzyme peroxidase. Then iodination or organification of the tyrosine takes place in the lumen, that is in the colloid, catalyzed by the enzyme peroxidase. Then coupling takes place to form T3 and T4 catalyzed by the peroxidase in the lumen. T3 and T4 are bound to the thyroglobulin colloid. Then endocytosis of thyroglobulin takes place into the cell. Then proteolysis takes place in the lysosome, and T3 and T4 are released into the cell along with MIT and DIT, and they are released into the blood. Then T3 and T4 which are released, they are transported to the peripheral tissue. Deiodination of MIT and DIT take place to form into the tyrosine and the iodide, and which is again recycled to form the new hormone. Now these are the Action of TSH on the thyroid. TSH increases iodide transport into the follicular cell. It increases production and iodination of the thyroglobulin. It increases endocytosis of the colloid from the lumen into the follicular cell. So iodide transport, iodination, endocytosis and proteolysis as well as release takes place under the influence of the TSH. Now coming to the transport of the thyroid hormones. Thyroid hormones are highly lipophilic and it is transported bound to a protein. The proteins are thyroxine binding globulin, thyroid binding prealbumin and albumin. Most of the hormones are circulated in the bound form. Very less amount is in the free form and almost 0.03% is in the free form which is biologically active. T4 is more than the T3, almost the concentration of T4 is 70 times greater than the T3, but T3 is biologically active. Regulation of the secretion we have already seen in the previous slides. So here transport of the thyroid hormone is shown. They are lipid soluble or lipophilic. They are bound to the thyroid hormone binding globulin, prealbumin and albumin. Most of the hormones is in the bound form and very less is in the free form. Free form is available for activity and it is the only active form, that is the free form is biologically active. Most of the hormone is in the T4 and maximum hormone is T4 and the very less is T3. T3 is biologically active. T4 is converted to the T3 by the enzyme monodeiodinase located in the liver and the kidney. Now coming to the molecular mechanism of the thyroid hormones, how do they act inside the cell? We have seen the release, we have seen the transport. Now when they reach the target cell, how do they act? Now T3 is a highly lipophilic, it is the biologically active hormone. It enters the